Hello and welcome back once again. I think first I'd like to take a very quick moment and thank everybody for joining me on my live stream there last Friday. It was really a fantastic time. I enjoyed having all of you. It turned out much better than I thought. I never did think I'd ever live stream, but just that alone made me think, hey, you know what, maybe I'll do that once a month or something. So, I don't know, keep an eye out for more. I may do more. In the meantime, I want to throw, again, I say it every time, a relatively quick video together. We've been talking a lot about takeoffs and landings and pattern work, etc. But I think it was time to introduce one more piece, and I want to talk about slow flight today. And I'll show you why toward the end of the video here. But slow flight's basically getting the plane into a configuration where you fly as slow as possible. And we're going to do that. We're at about 2,000 feet. I'm sinking a little. I had it trimmed. But we'll stay about 2,000 feet. We want to try to maintain that altitude and fly as slow as we possibly can. And the way we're going to do that is we do our clearing turns, which, you know, I've pretty much done, but it's a simulator. I would absolutely do them 100% in the real thing. You know what? I say that, let me do it. What I do is I turn about 90 degrees to the left and right. So I'll start with the right. What I'm going to do, let me turn on my head tracking here. I'm going to look to make sure there's no traffic over there for this turn. So now I'm going to turn about 90 degrees, which would be 230. So let's turn to 230. Make a 90-degree turn this way. There's about 30-degree bank. Try not to climb or sink, if you can help it. And we're rolling out on 230 here. Not too bad, still around there. And we can look off the wing. We don't see any traffic out that way or out that way. I'll make a 180 degree, so we'll go past 14 again. We'll come down to about 35 to 40 somewhere roughly. Pull my nose up, I'm diving pretty quick. Don't want to climb too much either. Roughly there, and we can look out the left to make sure there's no traffic. Okay, so we verified pretty much that there's no traffic around, so we'll go back onto our course of 140, which is where we started. That's pretty much a clearing turn. So we can get myself back to 2,000 here and on a course of 140. So now slow flight, basically, like I said, slowest possible speed you can go, and maintain altitude. So let me turn my head track off for a second. What we're going to do is, now that we've done the clearing turn, minimum altitude is 1,500 feet, I picked 2,000. We'll set the power to 1,700 RPM. We'll turn our carburetor heat on. We'll extend our flaps in increments out to 30 degrees, so full flaps in this 152. And then we use our airspeed is to pitch to maintain above stall horn. We're not actually looking to maintain a specific speed here on the airspeed indicator. It's just to maintain above stall horn. And then we're going to use, for altitude, we'll increase power as necessary to maintain our altitude. And it wouldn't be surprising to get around 2,000 RPM, 2,100 RPM, try to maintain altitude and stay just above the stall horn. Now, what's interesting is when we reduce to 1,700, the first thing we're going to do is use our pitch to maintain our altitude as we slow down. Once we start getting the flaps in, we're going to pitch for that. So we're going to transition to pitch for speed and use throttle for altitude, which is, you know, what we do on landings as well. So let's go ahead and do this. We're at about 2,000 feet. The goal for criteria is we want to stay within about 10 degrees of our heading, and we want our altitude to stay within 100 feet of our starting altitude. And the airspeed has to stay above stall horn. We might hear it just a tinge to know we're about there, and then we got to stay above it after that. So let's do this. Let's go 1,700 RPM. Roughly there, I think. We'll maintain our altitude with our pitch at the moment. I don't know why my screen just blanked on me. Hopefully it didn't show up in the recording. So yeah, here we are about 1,700, maintaining altitude. 1,700 RPM. We're in the flap zone in the white arc there. So let's put in a notch of flaps. And another notch of flaps. Okay. Maintaining altitude. Let's give her a little bit of power. And full flaps. So now we're into full flaps. So now we're going to pitch to slow down. So now we've kind of transitioned to pitch for speed and throttle for altitude. So we're descending. Let me increase power. And let's see if we can slow down some more. Don't want to climb too much though either. We're down at 40 knots airspeed. Let's bring it back even a little further. Try to, oh, we're way off. 140, so I busted that criteria. We're watching the airspeed and the throttle too much. Let's get back to 1.4. As we, oh, we get a little buffeting, so I think we're approaching the stall here. Don't really want to turn too much in when doing the slow flight though. So I'll have to accept this for the moment. Power. Oh, there's a stall horn. Okay, so pretty much at 35 it looks like we can maintain 35 knots on a 152 in slow flight and be comfortable. So let me trim to that. And a little more power because we are descending. Let's get back up. We were within 100 feet though, so we didn't bust that criteria. Now the recovery is we go powerful, carburetor heat off. We will pitch down a little bit for speed. We want to try to still maintain altitude though. And as speed increases, we take our flaps out incrementally. But we are going to retract in increments. Yeah, retract in increments as airspeed builds. Sorry, I said that wrong. Okay, so let's do that. Full power. Carb heat off. And let some speed build because we don't want to climb too much. We want to maintain our altitude. Okay, pull a notch of flaps out. Let some more speed come in. Okay. Pull another notch of flaps out. We're getting around 70, so we're at almost climb speed, but we're just maintaining at the moment. And last notch of flaps coming out, so we have no flaps now. And still maintaining 2,000. I did not maintain my heading though. Let's do that one more time. See if I can maintain my heading this time. Okay. Make sure we're at about 2,000 on 140. Pull my throttle back a little bit for cruise. On down. Back down to 2,000. See, I'm still practicing too, so it's a little sloppy, but I think you get the idea here. All right, pretty close to 2,000 here. So let's start getting set up again. Pull back to 1,700 RPM. There's 17-ish. Pop the carb heat on. Maintain our altitude. Speed's coming in, notch of flaps, a little more power. Another notch of flaps. More power because we're sinking. We've done the transition now. Pitching for speed. And power for altitude. Last notch of flaps coming in. We're back at full flaps. Now we already know that we can get to about 35, so let's pitch for 35. And power to maintain altitude. So we found our slowest speed above Stallhorn the first time. And we're there. And we're almost busted heading that time, but I'm still close to 1.4 now. So yeah, we're a little bit above 2,000 RPM, so flying about 35. Pitch to maintain that speed. A little more power. We're sinking. And this is slow flight. Actually climbing in slow flight, which is rare. All right, full power. Carb heat off. We'll take 1 notch of flaps out, lower the nose just a touch, get some speed built up. There we go, starting to climb, another notch of flaps come out. Getting up to 70. There we go, last notch of flaps coming out, so we have no flaps now, and reduce the engine power a little bit back to cruise. Try to maintain our 2000 here. Now, why is slow flight important? Well, that's going to be the next phase of this particular video, so I will see you back at the airport in the pattern, and I'll meet you there. Okay, so we're approaching the pattern here. We're on a good setup for a 45 to downwind. On 1-4 at Mansfield, you can see the airport beacon right there. Runway is a little obscured by trees, but there's the beacon. And there's that pond on the other side when we're doing 3-2. So let's come out a little bit more. Turn my head tracking on for a minute. There's a water tower over here that's familiar. We use that on when we are turning crosswind. Actually, we use that when we're doing left base. We fly toward that tank, left base to 3-2. So I know that's a base coming in this way. So the end of the runway is going to be over there somewhere. So let's start our 45. So it'd be Mansfield traffic. So that's November Juliet Bravo 7 Zulu Victor 45 left downwind 1-4 Mansfield. And release the mic. We are boom coming in. Oh yeah, see we're about midfield, so we're not quite 40, more like a 90 entry, but that's all right. Try to maintain my 1100 if I can. See, I'm getting sloppy again trying to do all this anyway. Oh, you know what? We're this far. Yep, there we go. We're on a downwind already. There we go. One 4 is almost behind us, so yep. Oh, man. Sorry about that. Sloppy again, but anyway, here's the gist. We are about to be beam our touchdown point right there, so 1700 RPM. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Maintaining our altitude. Get into the white arc on the airspeed indicator. And repeat is on. Notch of flaps in. The runway touchdown point is about 45 behind us. We'll make our left base. Roughly now. A little slow. Let's pitch for 70 here. Let's get 1-4 on our left on this heading indicator right here. Move that out of the way. Oh, there's 1-4. We look out. There's the end of the runway. Another notch of flaps. Let's try to pitch for about 65. Give her a little bit of trim. Okay, start turning final. There we go. That's a little bit of a cleaner one. Full flaps now. Let's go for 60. Now here's the thing. We're effectively in slow flight, just doing it 60 miles an hour instead of 35, or 60 knots instead of 35. But we're not liking this approach, so what do? It's a balked landing, go around. Basically same recovery. Full power, carb heat off, 1 notch of flaps out right away, build speed, and then with a positive rate of climb, we start taking flaps out and just build more speed. So that's why I was saying that practicing slow flight is a very good thing to do up in the air. If you do stall it, you have time to recover. That's why you do it at altitude. and you practice not stalling, but being right on that edge. And it's actually quite comfortable to fly at that, even in the real thing. I mean, I was amazed just how docile the plane felt. It was really controllable. But it's really handy if you find yourself in a situation, you say, oh my God, I'm not going to make it, I need to go around. Well, you push forward a little bit as you're increasing throttle just to maintain your altitude and speed at that point. Immediately take a notch out, carburetor heat off, and immediately take a notch of flaps out. You maintain, get a positive rate of climb, and then start pulling the rest of your flaps out. And that's it. So there is a slow flight and how to do a go-around. Kind of makes sense now, right? Well, I hope so. I tried to explain it best I could. So listen, everybody, that's going to do it for this video. Again, probably went longer than I wanted to, but hey, thank you very much for watching. I really enjoyed it. You know, I hope you guys all have a good time and keep learning stuff as I am refreshing and learning and going through all my mistakes. So, appreciate it very much. Have a good night, and we will see you in the next one.